Hello everyone, my name is Craig and welcome back to the channel, and this is a video review of the Nerf Elite Retaliator. If you ever shot a Recon, it's basically the upgraded version of the Recon. Spring powered, magazine fed, pretty simple blaster. Let's get into the review. So starting out with an external overview of the blaster, starting up front, there is an end strike barrel lug, so you can put on whatever barrel attachment you want on it. Getting back up front, there is an end strike track to cool rail up front. This is also the priming handle. It is spring powered to prime. You do that, and to prime, you also push forward, and then you're ready to fire once. This is spring powered blaster. If I haven't mentioned, this blaster does not have slam fire. Getting around to the back, there is a stock attachment point as well to put on whatever stock that you want. My blaster unit, I got this while thrifting, did not come with a stock. It came with the Retaliator barrel. I might get to that separately, but really I just want to focus on the core blaster. It doesn't really matter too much. But stock attachment point, getting down to the grip is very comfortable and very ergonomic and proportional to the blaster. I like this a lot. If you ever felt the Recon grip, it's basically the same thing. Get down also to the bottom, there is a sling mount there at the bottom if you want to run this on a sling. Also in the grip here, there is a little secret dart storage thingy in here. Be careful as to how far you push your darts in and what kind you put them in. You might not ever see your darts in again. There's nothing to really stop the dart from going in. But cool little hidden feature that they have in here. Getting down to the trigger pull is pretty standard and a little bit heavier than something like the Recon trigger, but in line with other Nerf blasters on the market right now. This shoots harder than a Recon and stuff, but trigger pull really works really well, and is surprisingly my unit for being thrifted and tattered and torn works pretty darn well. Ignore also this barcode that's on here. Just now noticed that this blaster again does not have slam fire. Getting down to the magazine well and release. The magazine release is here on the sides, full ambi, bro. It's on the left and right side. To load or unload the magazine, you prime back the blaster, and you can put in the magazine like that, and then you can shut the door and you're ready to fire. To release the magazine, you prime back the blaster, push the magazine release, and it comes out like this. Magazine well is fairly smooth. My unit is pretty old, so getting it in and out in there is a little bit of a challenge. I have to really work pushing these magazine releases in there, but probably another project for another time. I can update this with better internals, lube it up, and it can run much smoother with it. But my magazine well it's pretty similar to that of the Recon one. I think actually it's improved. It works pretty darn well, and it is compatible with all end strike magazines, including drum mags as well. But magwell, super smooth insertion. Also up top there is an access door to get in there to clear out any jams or malfunctions. During my testing procedure, I did not have any jams or malfunctions with it, so I didn't have to use it. That's pretty much all to go over with the Elite Retaliator. Let's see it out on the range. I'll be first starting out with an off-brand 12-round magazine with various color Nerf Elite darts. Now a 10-round magazine with X-Shot Insanity waffle head style darts. Firing analysis and conclusion of the Elite Retaliator. The blaster fired very well for being an old beat-up blaster, as in the quality of which I got this from the thrift store. I was weary when I did pick it up. I thought that maybe some of the internals were a bit worn out and stuff, but it actually fired pretty well. It's just something like the mechanics on the slide and stuff are a bit tight right now. But chrono results, I did chronograph this using my modulus chrono barrel attachment, and with Nerf Elite darts, got about 71 FPS as the average, so above the, or rather closer to in line with other Elite blasters on the market right now. With the X-Shot Insanity darts, I got closer to 74, 75 feet per second with these darts. I really like these darts, and I would highly recommend them to you. There are better options out there, but these are definitely way better than Nerf Elite darts if you want to hit what you're aiming at and have some decent velocity with them. So about anywhere between about 71 to 75 FPS on the chronograph reading. This thing's shooting really well in line, if not a little bit harder than most Nerf Elite blasters on the market right now. And it fires very, very well. Smooth operation. Again, my particular unit is old and beaten down a little bit, so it's not as gritty as, it's a little bit gritty, not as smooth as it could be, but works pretty well. And I got this thrifted for $9 from it, which is, I think, is a really good price. You're generally going to find Retaliators nowadays for like $13. Generally, you might find some cheaper than that. I found a lot that were more expensive, but 13 was on the low end for mine. Then again, I didn't do a whole lot of searching, but yeah, it works really well. Fires everything that I put through it. So my opinion on this blaster is very positive. Would I recommend this blaster to anybody? Yes. Especially if you're a modder with this. It has so much mod potential. This, besides the Strife, are like the top two blasters that people mod in the Nerf hobby. If you were to ask me which blaster do people mod the most, it's probably going to be the Strife and then the Retaliator. These things have, there's tons of mods that you could do to it. Then you can make the Retaliator an absolute beast with it. So if you're a modder, I would definitely recommend this for its mod potential. If you're a stock class nerfer, this would also work well as a spring primary too. And it would also work well in this form if you're a pistoler too. I mean, magazine fed, this gives me pistol form factor too. But for a primary, this is actually a decent option if you're looking for stock class nerfer. If you're looking for more high-end stuff, there's better options than this. There's in general usually better options than Retaliator, but this is still an absolute staple in the Nerf hobby, and you can't go wrong with the Retaliator, right? This is definitely a successor to the Recon. If you are a big fan of the Recon, I'd suggest upgrading to a Retaliator and then dissing your old Retaliator, or Recon. Get rid of that thing, unless if you're a collector or some sort. With that, there's no need for a Recon when the Retaliator is here, right? So very great blaster. Highly would recommend if you're looking for a spring primary or even an entry-level blaster in Nerf. This is going to really do you well. It's simple. Even loading in the magazine, it's simple enough. You can even use this as a loner blaster if need to, and give this to your friend. Maybe explain how a magazine works if they've never used one of that. And you can pew for days and not have to really worry about lack of velocity or capacity really with it. So that's my thoughts on the Elite Retaliator. A really fun, simple, staple blaster in our hobby. Let me know what you guys think of the Retaliator in the comments down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one.